Yow, 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 we're back, and apparently you're back, and this is our fourth
I
installment of,
think one, two, three,
yeah, this is,
four
yep,
podcasts. Can't
of
keep us
the
down.
Noble Savages, and hopefully you guys liked our previous work, and if you don't know already, I'm Trayvon Burgeons.
And I'm Josh Kane, and we have a special guest sitting in on our live podcast here.
It's John Vayner sitting in.
And, John just was at the library. We told him to stop in, and he wants to see
A fan of our podcast.
wants to see us how the process works. But I wanted to, before we get into anything, I wanted to give a huge shout out to anybody who has listened, anybody who has, especially the people who have tweeted about us. It's
It's a confidence boost.
It's huge. It's a huge confidence booster. That was slipping my mind. Thanks, Trey. To see, you guys really taking what we were trying to do and
then going out of your way to give us feedback is really great. We encourage it.
Yeah.
Even if it's negative feedback, try to avoid rudeness. But I mean, if that's who you are, then that's what it is. But just give us any kind of feedback, anything that'll help us.
Yeah, and all feedback is encouraged. And we if you have any questions, any topics you want us to go into, let us know. And it's the fourth podcast, and we're sitting here doing what we love. We got to do a lot of what we don't love to do this, but this is the meat of our sandwich. A couple things I want to talk about. March Madness is around, and a very cool thing I just discovered was there's 4 Florida teams in the Sweet 16. You got so I thought, why one state has 25% of the teams left in the tournament, and I thought it has something to do with the Miami Heat winning the NBA championship, last year. And so I did some research, and in 2008, 2009, the Lakers won the NBA title, and 4 teams from California were very successful in the tournament. So that's the second year that you see the NBA champion really inspiring college kids to be great. 2006 and 2007, the San Antonio Spurs win the NBA championship, and Texas A&M qualified. So they only had 2 teams, but Texas went really deep in the tournament. So again, you see people being very inspired by their home team.
Now, do you think that comes from their standards being raised because their state team just won the national championship? Like, are their practices becoming harder? Or do you think it's just kids relocating to
I think
that area?
It could be that, but I really think it's because it's different. It's not pro versus college. There's no recruitment. It's not like Alabama gets every good player.
Right.
But I think it's a big part of the fact that they're seeing success firsthand. And that's huge because you have to see your goal, and to see that goal, when you constantly see it in front of you, it's very easy to pursue, and we'll talk about that later. But and then the 05 Spurs win the national Spurs. I cannot say Spurs right now. They won the NBA championship, and 3 teams from Texas qualified for the tournament, and I think 2 of them went fairly deep. So you see 4 years of the past, 8. There's the NBA champion really inspires some college basketball kids, and that's talked about a lot in the talent code. Is what was it that country? In Puerto Rico, the one great baseball player inspired this a plethora of
civilization
of baseball, and their little league program's amazing now. And you saw it with Korean lady golfers. There was only women golfers. Sorry. You saw one woman win a major championship, and I think they account for 30% of all professional golfers now from one country, from where this one woman came from. And go ahead, Trey. That was my first random thought, and whatever you want to go into now.
Oh no, yeah, that's definitely a major factor when you see that success. If you see someone next to you bench pressing that weight that you thought that you couldn't bench press, you're definitely going to be driven to bench press that weight because you see that people close to you, it's a human action now.
And the fact that it can be done. You can see
when
that
you watch
actually
it
can
on
happen.
TV, you think of some foreign superpower that's doing this, when no, it's actually a person just like you. It's just how hard do you want to work for it, and how driven are you? It's your ignition. It goes back to the talent code by Daniel Coyle.
And another example, 2 examples that just popped in my head actually. One was popped in my head as I was saying. I had one pop into my head. There's the man who ran the first 4-minute mile. It was the first one in history. I can't tell you the dates, but I know no one had done it before, and as soon as he broke it, 12 other people broke it that year. And it's just being able to know that there's a feasible goal in front of you, and like we said, setting the right goals. And another one is, look at just St. V. After LeBron, they came in second in the state in basketball,
first in
football. and that's crazy in Division One. So you just see that seeing one person succeed.
It's Division Two, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is it D2?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, D2 or
I was
D1.
just trying to correct you so no one screams at you.
No, yeah, my bad. D2 or 1, it's still very impressive. But you see that if you can see your goal, if there's actually a feasible thing that you can strive for, if there's an image you can see, a light at the end of the tunnel, it's very easy. It's a lot easier to accomplish that goal.
Speaking of D2 and D1, there's been a lot of talking about that they're going to take these private high schools and put them in their own division. What do you think about that?
I don't know how I feel about that.
What they're saying is public schools, they can't recruit, they can't necessarily give money like these private schools. And
I'd have to say as it
put
comes
them on the same level, people feel that it's unfair.
For argument's sake, I'd have to pick a side because I'm not going to stay on the fence on this one.
Yeah,
I'd have to say I do agree with that. I think that's a good idea because what bothers me is I love the private school public school rivalries.
Yeah.
But besides that,
no, you can still play these regular.
They're just in different divisions.
Like high school, OHS, Ohio.
Yeah.
In this case, it'd be OHSSA, activities.
Yeah,
like,
would be in the
for
separate
wrestling,
division.
it'd be for the state tournament and stuff.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's a great idea.
Private schools dominate the state, other than St. Paris Graham, which is public school.
But that's just known for their wrestling, so they attract those wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, and while we're on the topic of goals, I just really wanted to say, I was sitting in my car today thinking, of things to talk about, and this popped in my head. I was wondering why everybody sets these, empty goals, like New Year's resolution goals, and, most of those goals fail because, first of all, there's no ignition. But the problem is that the goals that we set, like hypothetically, I'm going to go to the gym for the summer. First of all, the summers are really, if that long of a time frame, if I'm in January and I'm working out for June, it's, there's a lot of passion that you have to keep throughout that whole process. And the problem is there's no intermediate goal. There's no step in between. It's literally like I'm going to jump from this point and I'm going to go right to the top of the mountain. And I'm not even going to climb. I'm just going to jump and it's impossible. So what you need to do, first of all, don't be discouraged. And one step forward means everything. If you're going forward, that's all that matters. And the problem is that with anything that we do, if we're not at a certain level, we feel like we failed, and that's not true. You have to change your standards. Just like happiness isn't a race. Everybody runs their different race. Everybody, if I'm naturally 130 pounds and the guy standing next to me is 250 pounds and he lifts more than me, that's not because he's a better man than me. It's because he's biologically bigger than I am. And you can't allow yourself to be discouraged by that. And as you go through your goals, you have to have intermediate steps. You have to be able to look at what you're doing and say, okay, I'm going to get to this step here, I'm going to get to that step here, and that'll get you to your bigger goal, because we think if we don't look like a Hollister model that being in good shape doesn't matter. Well, if I'm not going to look like that, then I'm just going to be fat, and that's not true. You can totally find a happy medium in that, and the extreme is in a rare case, only a few % of people can look like that, truly.
That's like waking up before you're going to school. You just wake up and you're like, okay, I'm going to look good, and then walk out the door. No, you got to, put on your fancy little jeans and your shirt, and, you have to take those baby steps. Like, I know it's a cliche, but you walk before you run, and you run before you sprint, It's just, they all tie into each other, and you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, you have to set your goals out of reach, not out of this world. And you can don't get me wrong, you can set goals out of this world, but make sure there's steps in between that are just out of your comfort zone, just on the cusp of what you're trying to do,
Because then once you reach just out that comfort zone, then you
do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
And you do it again,
There's
and it's a very positive domino effect. Yeah. And, don't be discouraged, and don't think that if you can't accomplish this huge thing that you're a failure, because the littlest things are huge successes, if you don't recognize them as that, just like perspective, every little thing that happens to you take as a negative, you're not going to be happy. And if every little failure, and especially if you're looking at little failures and you're not looking at little successes and weighing them on the same scale, it's crazy. You're never going to accomplish that goal. But if you say, I'm going to do this much and this much, and we like to overdo things. We get very overzealous, and then we try to do all this exercise, and then we're like, well, that sucks, so I'm done. Right. Taper it out, and really give yourself a time to adjust, because
even yourself out.
We've talked about how hard it is for our bodies to change. Our bodies want to be the same as much as possible, because it allows them to use more energy towards other things, but that doesn't mean that you can't do amazing things, but you have to do it a little step at a time. And then another thing is, we're convinced that if we don't make this huge goal, that it's completely wrong. But I just wanted to say that's completely ludicrous. I don't know if you agree with me on this topic.
I got you.
But to take it one step at a time and really do what you want to do, no matter what someone else says to you.
No, I do believe in the big leaps. Like if you're being really risky.
You take huge risks, you're gonna you have huge rewards, but it's not step A to B.
For that.
It's not overnight.
Right.
Nothing's overnight, and I guess there is some examples of overnight success, but they're very rare. And people to put your hope in something like that is not gonna make you happy. I wanted to say something that made me mad today. Not that made me mad, but there's a big myth out there that bulls get angry at red, and me and Trey were in the car talking about it, and I just want to dispel all rumors of that cattle only have 2 color receptors versus 3. They can only see blue and yellow, so they can't make the color red. So the fact that people...
You think they see maybe a bright yellow out of the red or something?
No, it's the fact that we put them in pens and we chop their testicles off and we do all these cruel things and we brand them with hot irons. That's why the cattle are mad at us, and we like to think, it's because we were wearing a red shirt.
That would definitely irritate.
I mean, it's a 300-pound cow with horns. What do you expect it to do? You know what I mean?
It's like a really mean unicorn.
Exactly. It's with 2 horns, twice.
Yeah.
It's squared. It's a really mean unicorn squared, and it's just silly. But that it's just so funny. What the thing is they use red capes. This is how it's. I'm gonna say the origin of how this rumor came about. The capes were always red,
the matadors,
and the rapid movement of the cape is what pisses the bull off. And that's why they attack the red cape. It's not the fact that the cape could be pink, purple, yellow.
Dandelion.
It could be off-white or any other white color that Crayola... Gosh, I wish I could have that job, naming Crayola colors. That'd be awesome. How
sweet would that be?
Like, how many white colors can there be? Like egg white. Or how many yellows? Like canary or corn, smoker's teeth yellow.
Wow. No, that'd be awesome.
I would not want to write with a smoker's teeth yellow crayon.
Smoker's long black.
But... it's just it's so funny how we have these little myths, and like if I debated that with anybody, they would get so mad at me probably about how no bulls, it's the red, and it's just like we put so much faith in these silly things that we hear, and some of them are true. I mean, I believe that for the longest time. I'm not saying if you believe that you're silly. I just figured that out, and I thought I'd share it.
That was just a tradition type thing, and people tried
just
to
kind of got passed down
it with something else, and that happens a lot. But go ahead.
It's just crazy how we put so much into that one thing that's completely false. But
just like I was talking about it, and I didn't want to go into this yet, but like how I don't know if you guys are familiar with chemtrails. I talked to you about this earlier, but for the people at home, a chemtrail is like when a jet passes by and the cloud it leaves behind, because it literally is a cloud, the cloud it leaves behind stays there. And people get really worried about this because some clouds last longer than other clouds, and people are saying that it's some type of cancer causing chemicals or something.
You know why they do that most of the time? They're clearing airspace. When you see the X's, they're just that's saying that there's a cleared airspace. Yeah.
And the reason why it stays on, I saw this off of actually Joe Rogan when I was talking about Neil Tyson. It's just that it's different. It's the amount of humidity that's in the air, and people don't really. And there's different amounts of humidity at different levels. So I mean, something that just was brought up to be so big. Oh my gosh, there's population control to kill off the people to try. No, if you would just do maybe just a tad bit of research before.
Just a tiddly tad.
Before I don't know. I can't.
Before drawing these conclusions about it,
exactly.
I was having a mental block earlier. I had 2 points about the goals, and one of them, the other one that I couldn't think of is shortcuts. We believe that in this society there's a shortcut for everything, and while there are things that make life easier and allow us to do things easier, it's not true for things that are actually worth getting. Like the really things that'll make you fulfilled or really make you happy, they take a lot of work. And if we believe in the shortcut and the shortcut doesn't work, that results in us feeling like we failed, and that results in us quitting.
And people, the reason is people associate the word work for terrible difficulty. You can make work fun. What we do right here is work. It's just fun.
Yeah, you just got to find something you love to do.
Make it fun, and even if you don't think it's fun, even if you think, I don't know, going to 2-a-days for football or swinging a golf club 40 times a day, If you don't think that that's fun, then make it fun. I don't know, act stupid,
Yeah, when what you need to do is if you can't make whatever you're doing fun, at least keep in mind what you're accomplishing
Yeah,
to make whatever is going to be fun in the future. Like
and if that's not present, then you might not be doing the right.
Yeah,
you might
you
have to
just switch it up.
rethink. Yeah.
But like with golf, I do not enjoy spending 4 hours a day working on my short game and driving, on the driving range. But I do love competing at a high level in golf, so I always have to keep that in my mind. What am I doing this for? And that's what we're saying is make steps.
To, build that myelin.
Yeah. What's the step quote that you quoted in the last tweet?
Oh, it's you can't get to the top of the stairs without the steps.
Exactly. You need steps between your goals. But yeah, we can't believe in these shortcuts because if we believe that everything has a shortcut, first of all, anything that has a shortcut is probably not as great a thing as we should be doing.
Right.
But there are easier ways to do. I'm not saying pick up an Amish lifestyle because there's a shortcut there. No, I'm saying that if
not necessarily easier ways, more comfortable ways.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta be uncomfortable to do some great things. And that's all I wanted to say. I completely forgot about the shortcut part of my my spiel there.
And I can bring this into mixed martial arts or something. Like monks and different type of Buddhist-based martial arts. Their whole thing is peace. They don't want to use a lot of force or aggression, unnecessary anger. Well, that's comfortable for them. Someone who's maybe a kickboxer or a boxer, they love that anger. They love that adrenaline rush, So it's all different, comfortable. It's not difficulty levels. People, like, you can't say what monks do are easy, but it's just more comfortable for them. Maybe you see it as them being more comfortable, but the guy smashing a sledgehammer on a tire is just as comfortable, even if he doesn't realize it or not. That's what he likes to do because he knows he gets instant results from doing that.
Yeah, and if all of us just did what we loved and stopped worrying about what everybody else was doing, how much happier would this society be? And the thing is there's 1,000 ways to do everything. There's not any right way, and that's the third prong of what I was going to say that just popped into my head. Don't think that the way you're doing it is wrong because it's different. Because, like we said, there's no such thing as true originality, but there's really great ways to tweak things and to make things your own. Because there is 1,000 ways to do things. As a mixed martial artist, you can be fast. You can be smarter than your opponent. You can be stronger than your opponent. You can be all those things together. What you want to be is all better than all of him and all that. But you only need one piece of the puzzle to overpass somebody. So you can be strong. And that goes for anything. That goes for academics. That goes for, anything, any sport. There's a lot of ways to do it. And so if you're doing it one way and nobody else is doing it that way, I just recommend stay on that course and keep going with that because nobody can do things like you can. Nobody can.
Speaking of these great accomplishments, there's been a great medical achievement that's happened. People are actually being able to reamp like hearts and body organs, and I think this was done in Russia. I might be misquoting here, but they can actually, in essence, find a cure to heart disease. It's not necessarily a cure, but it's like a swap. It's like get rid of your heart for a better heart. It's a transplant.
Pretty crazy discovery.
What they do is, and this is just to give a little background, is they take a cadaver, which is apart from a dead person who was a donor, and then they put it in this container and they pour detergent on it to get rid of all the cells that are on that heart, or it can be anything. It could be like an ear or something. And what you get after that, it's called the scaffold, which means all the cells are off of it, and it's just the organ itself. It doesn't have any cells on it. Or let's say if it's a nose and it was dipped in the detergent, or the detergent was poured on it, that all the skin would be gone. And all that, and what's left is just the actual nose. And after they do that, they go into the patient that they're operating on, and they can take stem cells from either the bone marrow or their fatty tissues, their fat, and then they inject that into the organ. But that's for the nose and the ears and stuff. But what a heart needs is they put it in a bioreactor, which is, it serves as almost like an electronic womb. When we're in the womb, that's where we get all the nutrients and the oxygen and the chemicals that we need, where our heart develops. And that's basically what that is. So that's a really big step. I think that's a huge step for mankind, man, to be able to, in essence, cure heart disease. What do you think?
here's where I'm at on it. Is it seems like a huge blessing, and it is. Don't get me wrong. It'll be able to cure heart disease, but
You're about to say don't take it for granted.
there's a lot. Well, first of all, yeah, don't take it for granted. We'll talk about that in a second. The point I wanted to make was what we're gonna see is the population start to grow. Death. Heart disease. I can't off the top of my head. I cannot tell you what the stat is.
It's the lead. It's the leading.
It's the leading cause of death.
Yeah.
And if you can stop that, then you're going to see people live a lot longer. You're going to see people who would normally die, not die. And that sounds horrible, but in reality, let's think about it. More of us with less resources, it could be a curse. But in the short term, looking at it from a positive side, that's awesome. Right. That's so cool. And what we can do, we've talked about how amazing human beings are, but you really can see that how awesome people can be and how what cool things we can do. And that's a big deal.
No, man, I definitely understand the overpopulation problem. We're already facing that problem right now, as is, without this heart transplant.
Yeah, the problem is we're a species we're the only animal that just utterly destroys whatever we go after, whatever we use. You know what I mean? Like every animal has their niches and they take care of whatever their ecosystem is. We don't. And granted, we're human beings and they're not, but we're just saying that the more people that are on this earth, the worse it's going to get for every person on this earth.
What do you think, we're talking about animals and their niches and stuff. What about this topic? I just thought of this off the top of the head, so I have no background on it.
Gotta love those random topics.
But what if us as a species, as our instinct is to capture territory, like make the world our niche?
Well, like I said, earlier we've talked about this, is I think primally, human beings are just meant to survive.
Is it primitive? Yeah, primally. Okay, go ahead.
Primitively.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Pick
6 to 1, half a dozen the other. But if I misspoke, I apologize. But if you're here, when we were on Earth as primal human beings, we are made to just survive. And I think now our materialism has been adapted into our survival mechanism. So
instinctively,
the control and conquer is just a result of society. Now, in our essence, we are not like that. But no human being no animal is like us. So it's hard to make speculation because we are so different. But the fact of the matter is, we consume everything that we use, and I think that's part of our materialistic instinct. And it's not part of, that's been adapted, not evolved. You know what I mean? And I think as we go through the cycle of life, that may fall off. But I think it's more of a pride thing and an ego thing than it is actually part of a human nature. I think we're to blame, not our evolution.
Right, and what goes back to that is how our big concern is overpopulation, and yet we're still going out of our way to stay overpopulated. I'm not saying in any way go grab a group of people and kill them. Not in any way at all, but we're interfering with the natural processes of life, like how I was talking about chemtrails, but I want to bring that to cloud seeding, which is it's a form of climate control to help people, actually, so please no conspiracies on this. What they do is they take these planes and they go into the upper atmosphere, or they can I think it's called it's like they do it from the ground. It's just from buildings, and they'll send it out the chimney, or what is it called? They'll bellow it out the chimney or whatever. And it's either silver iodide or dry ice, and they put it into the air that serves as a cloud condensation, which in turn turns it into precipitation to prevent droughts and, to really help plants and animals that are, dying off because of droughts. But do you think that that's interfering with natural processes of life, or do you think that's good? I see it in the good way, but
I see everything in the negatives and positives, especially when you come from something as a positive way. I try to look at the negatives just to have the balance. And yet again, we would like to stress that any idea we bring up is not our own personal beliefs. We do have personal beliefs as humans, but when we walk in here and we do these things, it's to inform you, and to inform you, we have to give you both sides of things.
We can entertain an idea that we do not.
So personally, I think it's really good for the drought aspect, but also it's bad because it is interfering with the natural order of things. But I mean, like I said, we are changing our ecosystem. We're adapting. So I guess in order to adapt for us destroying the climate or whatever whatever we're doing, stopping, making things hotter, like people say that it is. Personally, I don't believe that, but we have to compensate for it. So at least we're trying to compensate
Right,
for
we're
the
trying
damage
to
that we're doing.
clear our conscience.
But it's so funny that we're making something that's fixing what we did in the first place.
right.
But yeah, it would be good for places with severe drought, because that is just horrible. When people can't eat, and it would prevent a lot of famine, and that would be, in the short term, it's a very good idea, and I think in the long term it would be a good thing as well.
Global warming very briefly right there. You know what I was thinking? I'm kind of half and half on global warming. I haven't done enough research to really state my position on it.
It's very controversial.
But you know what? I was thinking of, if global warming does exist today, and that's what's making the atmosphere hotter and increasing temperatures worldwide, then what melted the ice age? All the ice caps.
Well, here's where I'm at. Is the only stat that I do, well, not statistic, but the only fact I do know that always has spoken true to me is that, like, compared to I need to stop saying but compared to what compared to what we do to the environment with our cars, compared to our cars, volcano emissions from way back when huge super volcanoes were exploding is like, I don't know the statistic, and I'm just spitballing. It's like 600 times, I want to say. I have no idea though. 6,000. It's a huge astronomical number. Are way worse to the environment than anything we've ever done to it. And nature goes through natural cycles. That's proven. And I think it's just part of the natural cycle. I mean, last spring break, it was 88 degrees, and I'm sitting in the library looking at 4 inches of snow as I'm talking on this podcast. So it's not getting hotter, I don't think. But who knows? I think nature is in cycles. And I think it's always in cycles, and we just happen to be part of the cycle. It's not...
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I think it's a cycle. I think they just have their times, I think that there's a period of hot, a period of cold, a period of wind, a period of rain. I just think it's a big circle. I don't think it should be anything that would
huge deal that everybody freaks out about. We're coming to a close. We're going to start shortening up these podcasts a little bit, and near the close, I'm going to tell you what Noble Savage has planned in the future.
To keep you greedy, unfocused people focused.
No, we realize that attention spans are short, and we're just going to make better 30-minute podcasts for everyone.
We joke about it all the time. Our attention spans aren't even this long.
Exactly. But we just want to share some vision for the future, because we're talking about goals. We encourage everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share with your friends. Trey's going to have a homework assignment soon that has something to do with that. We're thinking about making 30-minute podcasts, maybe 2 to 3 a week, so we can keep you roped in, keep the content coming, but shorten it up so we know you guys are busy. Our channel trailer is going to come up, but it's coming up pretty soon. We're probably going to do that this week, so keep an eye out for that, and that'll be really what we're about and what we're trying to do. I'm currently learning how to develop apps, and we're gonna make a website soon, so keep an eye out for that. We're gonna make t-shirts pretty soon. It's probably gonna say either, we'll wait for your input to really see what's gonna be on the shirt. But follow us on Twitter at Noble Savage POD. That's pod at Noble Savage Pod. And that's where you can really find all of our updates. Anytime we have a new video, I put it up there. And Trey has a homework assignment for you, I think.
And the homework assignment will be make a YouTube account and subscribe to us. No, that'd be great if you could actually do that. But what you should do is try to focus on getting your information elsewhere than TV. Go get a newspaper. And I know newspapers are still biased, but what I'm essentially trying to say is reduce your amount of television, because that it's very unnatural. And I haven't watched television for I think it's been a week.
That's good for you.
And it's really cleansing. It really cleanses your mind. It keeps you aware of what's really going on around you, rather than in that square of pictures.
Exactly, and it's very overwhelming, like we've said before.
But yeah, so just try to reduce. If you see how much, if you're just sitting at home and you're eating cereal or something, and you're sitting on your couch trying to watch TV, I mean, that's fine, whatever. But if you're just watching this excessive amount of pictures being thrown into your brain, try to avoid that. Get up, maybe
just limit it.
By God, don't attack me. Get a book.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, even just turn it off and just think about what you're doing, and really appreciate what you are doing, not what that TV's throwing into your head.
But in no way are we degrading people who watch TV. Television's awesome. We're just saying limit it, cut it back a little bit, and find some time for yourself to really reflect.
And if you are watching TV, then try to watch the news or something.
Yeah, silence is golden. We don't find it enough. Really take some time to be quiet, not be quiet, but to find some quiet time for yourself and really reflect, because it makes you just a little bit healthier, a little bit more mentally aware. But to be fair, we've assigned you a couple homework assignments, and me and Trey are going to read our answers from the first one, so you know that we're doing it alongside you. Do you have yours?
No,
okay.
Go ahead.
I'll
go
read mine
first.
off, and next podcast we'll hit Trey's up. My bad. I thought you
it's
had them.
fine. Yeah, you just threw that at me. Go ahead.
But Trey said find 5 traits, or we both said find 5 traits about yourself that you like, but one thing that you're lacking that you need to work on, and mine would be I'm very honest and I'm real. Those two would go together. I think of myself as a pretty tough person. I've got really good instincts. I can always trust my instincts. I apologize. And empathetic as well. We talked a lot about that. But something I do need to work on is my confidence in myself, and really knowing that I do have some self-confidence, but I really want to take it to a new level, because I let little critiques bother me, and I can't let that happen. So I need to be able to look at myself. And like we said, we're struggling with all the problems you guys are. Even if you think that you think you're alone here, you're not. That's what the purpose of this podcast is to tell you guys you are not alone. You have 2 guys sitting in this room right now that are fighting the same battle you are. And we also want to say, if you wanted to show some support, we want to make you guys feel included, like you're part of our team. If you have any ideas about that, tweet them to us, anything, personally tell us. But a really cool thing would be if you could put hashtag capital N Noble Savage Podcast, so NSP, capital NSP, in your bio. That'd be awesome, because then when people go, what's hashtag NSP? Be like, well, it's the most awesome podcast in the world. Just kidding. But that'd be awesome if you could join our team.
Yeah, I just wrote down the homework because I left my notepad at home. But the 5 qualities that I really like is loyal, faithful, open, confident, and socially aware. But the one that I really want to improve on is I can be quite stubborn at times, and I really preach flexibility, but I'm still fighting my own battles here. I'm not trying to go anywhere from do as I say, not as I do. I'm really trying to fight that, but I'm a pretty stubborn person, so I've been trying to take in people's ideas, even if I kind of have a clue on how maybe knowledgeable that person is talking to me, but I can't in any way judge that on who they are and what they believe in. So I'm trying to stop stubbornness, I guess.
Yeah, like we said, guys, we struggle with the same things everybody else does, and these couple half hours are when you see the best of us. We have some bad times just as everybody else, but we're fighting. We want to stress that we're fighting this battle with you, and we really hope you join our team. And I'd just like to tell you, this is Josh Kane
and Trayvon Burgeon,
reminding you to keep it noble
and keep it savage, please.
And shout out to John for sitting in on the beginning of our podcast, really seeing how we work.
Shout out to Audacity.
Again, Audacity is awesome.
There's the Cuyahoga Falls Library. We're back in.
Yeah, we're back in the library for podcast 4.
I'm glad there's not an announcement going on about.
Yeah, announcement free. So you're gonna have to trust us that we're in here. But we just really, I want to stress how much we appreciate the support, and
shout out to you, man. I think we forgot to give you your credit a couple times. Like, really, thank you. We really like the feedback. And
it means more than you know.
And even if you're not giving feedback, I just really hope you're grabbing something from this and really enjoying it.
And I wanted to say, along with the 30-minute podcast, we're going to do 10-minute videos once a week, question and answer. So we really encourage you to comment on YouTube.
Yes.
Personally, let us know. Any topic you want us to talk about, we will research it and we will do a video on it.
Tweet us, comment on YouTube, do whatever you can to contact us, and we will definitely try.
So if you're not happy with the topics we're doing, let us know. And, if there's 5 topics, we'll do 2 minutes on each one. If there's one, we'll do 10 minutes on that, and we'll figure it out. So thank you very much.
All right, keep it noble.
And keep it savage.
See ya.